So today we're going to go over the Elite controller from Xbox. We're going to compare it to the original controller, see what the differences are, price differences, quality difference, and what it can do that the normal controller can't do. So initially, it looks exactly the same, apart from a few different bits and bobs on it, like the grips are different, they're knurled and like rubbery, so the grip feels much better, more quality. The actual controller itself feels more quality. On the front buttons you can see there's grips on there and they feel a better material. There's also a different colour, like a shiny metallic, even though it's plastic, sheen to the front of the controller. And it says Xbox there obviously. And it's also rechargeable, so you can't remove any batteries. You just plug the cable into the front and you're away. It also comes with a case, which is pretty nice quality, it's quite hefty. Inside the case there is a battery that's removable, but you can also plug the charger into the front from your plug, and you just rest the controller on there and it will charge. You can close the case up or just leave it open as normal. Also in the case there is interchangeable buttons. All these buttons are removable, you can take them out, and these go onto the controller. They just slot right on, and there's a netting at the front of the case, which is probably for cables obviously. Yeah, and it's quite a nice package, feels quite weighty. There's kind of some loop there, I don't know whether that's to connect it to your rucksack or something if you wanted to, and it has a logo on the front there, which is quite good. You can also close a flap on the front where the charging cable goes. You can just put that in and that closes like that. Yeah, so that's quite good quality, good for protection. It definitely would protect the controller and its parts. Feels really nice. Also, the battery comes with a felt covering that doesn't detach. At first you think this is, you know, you pull that off to charge it, because if you look underneath, I don't know if you can see that, but the charging points are underneath. But what you have to do is you have to pull that back and put the charger on it, so the connectors connect with the bottom of the controller. I think it's so you just don't constantly have it on charge over a long period of time. That'll probably degrade the battery. So I think if it's fully on charge, or fully charged, sorry, you can just put that back over and yeah, just put it in there, leave it plugged in but not charge a controller. Also, that's removable, so if you want to put it on a shelf or, you know, just put it on your desk or something, you can remove it, but again, you have to pull back the felt. When I first got this, I thought it was just protection for transit, and I did try to pull that off, but just be aware it doesn't come off and you will be ruining it, or not ruining it, but, you know, taking that off and it won't be replaceable. You can't put it back on, so just be aware of that. You can put that in there. All the bits, they come out. So if you look at the controller, everything on the controller is removable, so you can take the thumbsticks off, you can take the D-pad off, they're all removable, and then you can replace them, and they simply just click on, that's it. And then you can have different length thumbsticks, so you can have a longer one for different games, a shorter one, and some of them have different fronts. So if you look, they're slightly different. They've got like a concaved top, and there's one here with a top that's round, so it's not concaved, which you can tell the difference when you've got it on. It does feel strange for the first 10 minutes if you do swap from a concaved to the dome top. And yeah, obviously that's all down to preference. From the bottom of the console, if you notice, It's different from the other one. The other one doesn't have anything on the bottom apart from a removable battery pack or removable battery compartment lid. This one, there's the chargers. That's what connects. You have buttons on each side. So for each side, you can configure the buttons to what you want them to do. And if you've configured the buttons differently for, say, 2 different games, you can then swap the profile, so you don't have to reconfigure them all the time. You can just move that switching button up and down and choose your profile for each side. So that's quite handy. And then what you do is configure them to jump, fire, pretty much anything that the controller can do normally, you can configure it for. And obviously these controllers go down, so if you set that up and then put that one in, if I can do it, and that would be different, and then you get another slot on each side, so then you can configure them like that, and they're just removable. You can have them on or have them off. What I have found is if you are playing and you get a bit over exaggerated, you know, like you do when you're shooting, you can press them by accident. So what I tend to do, if I'm not using them, I will remove them, because you're grabbing the remote when you're playing, you press them, and if it's configured to do something you're not expecting it to do for that game, then you'll press it and you end up getting killed or making the wrong move and getting killed. So yeah, just be aware of that. So yeah, and then when you finish with them, you can pull them out just easily. You just pull them up and slide them out like that, and that basically takes them out, and then they just become just part of the controller. They just they don't get in the way. Looking at the top of the controller, there's 3 lights, and they're indications of charge. And that's the charging light, so when it's on charge, that will flash. Yeah, and it's got the normal mic slot at the bottom, and other than the interchangeable and the quality, it's nothing different. You can treat it the way you would treat a normal controller. Just make sure that when you finish with the buttons you're not using, make sure that you put them in the case, otherwise you're going to end up losing all them, and that'll cost you money to replace them. And also, if you do lose them, you can't use them, which basically renders it the same as a normal controller. Price difference, it's around £100 more. Don't know what that converts to in American dollars, but it's around £100 more, so it's around £170 to have the controller. So I guess it comes down to what you want out the controllers. If you're happy with just playing with a normal controller, that's fine. If you're into configuring your own buttons and adding extra buttons for usability, also ergonomics, so if you have, you know, if you want to change the way the buttons feel or the height or that, I think it's ideal. It is very expensive, but then it does come with a case. It is rechargeable. You get a cable as well. Speaking of the cable, it is quite long. There's USB, and it's braided as well, so it is a really strong cable. It does feel really nice, and like I said, it is quite long, so that would reach pretty much any place from the Xbox or from a USB plug if you wish to plug it into that. So would I upgrade? I don't know. I got this as a bundle with the Xbox Series X, so it already came with it. I'm glad it came with it because it is really good and it feels really nice. It does feel much more higher quality than this one. But if I had to buy one outright, possibly not. No, I probably wouldn't. I don't think I'm that much of a hardcore gamer to justify the extra £100 spending on this. But because it came with a bundle, it is really nice to have. and I do use it over that one. In fact, I don't think I've used that one yet. So if you can see, it's got gathering dust. So yeah, it is a nice thing, but it's just down to preference, what you like and what you want. Thanks for watching.